You are refreshed. Now what?
So I've had several teachers in my life, but Abraham has been the foundation for our spiritual journey. And sometimes the things that I learn fly in the face of some of those, and the one that I wanted to talk about today was emotions. So I've become really adept at feeling emotion in my body, something that I wasn't able to do as a child because I was told to push them away. And now that I'm feeling them in my body and I'm able to find a better feeling thought or whatever occurs to me to do in the moment, I'm hearing that it may be better to sit with the emotion for a while to process it and then let it go and then move on to a better feeling thought. So I get some confusion there.
Whatever works best for you, do it. In other words, as long as you understand an emotion that does not feel good to you simply means that your inner being is not in agreement with your perspective of whatever it is. And the thing that we want to clarify, and we're happy to have this conversation regarding emotion because we touched on it briefly earlier. Let's say that you are feeling upset about something because you believe that you've made the wrong decision. So you're feeling what you might describe as remorse or regret, that you should have done something different. And in the mix of that are the two choices that you were choosing from, and instead of choosing this one, you chose that one, and now you're feeling bad about it. So you feel the negative emotion, and you might say, as a result of what you've been hearing from us, that because you feel negative emotion, that means your inner being thinks you made the wrong choice, when your inner being is just not beating up on you like you are. Because it's not about what you did or didn't do, it's that you are choosing to now use whatever that was as your excuse to disconnect yourself from source. So these emotions are complicated, and they usually have layers and layers, and sometimes it takes some time to work through them, but we are never proponents of sitting with something that doesn't feel good and trying to sort it out, because we understand about law of attraction, and we know that whatever you're focused upon is going to gain momentum. So the momentum that you gain with that is going to make it more difficult for you to find the other feeling that you're really looking for. Sometimes, and it may be part of what you are reaching for, is that by poking at it or staying with it or continuing to think about it, the situation gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, because law of attraction says that it must, and the way you feel is worse and worse and worse and worse. But sometimes in that process you launch a very strong intention for something that will serve you and will serve you well, but still you got to get back to it, and it's not going to happen any time that you're sitting with this. We'll just be very clear. We have never ever seen anyone have an emotional breakthrough that served them by focusing upon something that didn't feel good while they were doing it. Never.
So in an effort to find a better feeling thought, I tend to concentrate on conditions. So many times I wake up in the morning and I feel like I should have reset.
Well, you can't get there from there, can you? The best way to find a better feeling thought is to change the subject. Mm-hmm. Just remember these words: get out ahead of it. Let's walk through this. So let's say something's really bothering you. You have this issue, something's happened, it's not fair, you don't like it. And you've got negative emotion going on about it. And you've decided that you want to find a better feeling thought, but there isn't one anywhere in the vicinity of that. So you change the subject while it's not really what you want to do, because what you really want to do is keep talking about this, because it's got momentum. But you also really want to feel good, so you find another subject that doesn't have all of that negative stuff twirled up in it, and you feel better, and now you're out ahead of it. Now, as you focus on what feels good, change the subject, focus on what feels good, now you can get stable in your alignment, and then the better feeling thought will come to you about that subject. But you got to get out ahead of it.
Okay.
Let's say that you have 5 subjects that are important to you, that are active right now. And one of them is going extremely well, and the other 4 not so well. Well, you could improve the other 4 by focusing on the one that is going extremely well. Just use anything and everything as your excuse to get in the receptive mode, and then good stuff will come to you on all of the others. But the tendency as humans is to keep trying to solve that problem, and then you take the one thing that's bothering you and you use it to mess up all the other things that are going well. It's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is. One more thing.
Yeah.
In the mornings, I wake up and I feel dread.
Dread?
Dread. And I've begun, as I practice, to deliberately change my thought process to go ahead and find better feeling thoughts and think about things and get in the moment. But I'm wondering what that dread is, because I go to bed and I feel comfortable.
First, let us say to you, we keep cutting you off. First, let us say to you, it's unusual or not likely or not logical, knowing what we know about the laws, for you to wake up feeling dread. But it is logical to wake up not feeling dread, and then your mind turning to the details of yesterday. So you're just picking up yesterday's momentum and carrying it into today. So it could be helpful, as you're putting yourself into your bed, to sort of count your blessings, make a list of positive aspects, or write a note of something on your nightstand, of something that is particularly pleasing or that you're looking forward to, and just get in the habit of, when you wake up in the morning, that that's the first thing you think about and look at. The sleeping process really is a clearing process, and it will clear so much of the momentum of any resistance that you've got while you're sleeping. Are you getting a good night's sleep?
Yes, I am.
So when you awaken, it's very, very likely that most of that momentum has cleared. And so you hear people say, I want to get up on the right side of the bed, or I want to get up on the right foot. Just sort of have those ideas in mind. Jerry used to ask Esther and later beg her to not read her email before noon, because he knew that she would wake up and she was happy and that they would work on creative projects. But once she would begin checking email, and the difficulties and problems of whatever is going on in the functions of a very busy place would then cause her to shift her attention to something. But if she would wait, then she had all that momentum going and nothing bothered her. But if she would start first thing in the morning before she really had that momentum going, then it was easy for her to get upset that the generator wasn't working, that had been overhauled at extensive expense, or that the RV park that they really wanted to be in, that had a very narrow window. There were only 5 50-amp spots, and their big bus needed a 50-amp spot. And if she called too soon, they hadn't opened them to be rented. And if she called too late, the 5 spots had already been eaten up. And so finding that timing was so upsetting to her when her rejection about that would come through. But not if she was in the high-flying disc. You got to get out ahead of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
10 years ago, my husband and I came to visit with you in Sedona, and my husband had a question about our son who has autism. And the feedback that you gave him, the information that you gave us both, was so monumental in our vibration and thereby his development. So I wanted to say thank you to you. Thank you.